how do we choose the number of major factors? So the number of factors is basically we look at uh, factors that give us good uh, eigenvalues, okay, and uh, let me actually take this time explain what do we mean by eigenvalues and the number of factors. Okay, how do we choose? So when we look at exploratory factor analysis, okay, let's say our factor structure is something like this. This is F2, this is F1, and we have two items here, and just a very simple case, two items. This is the diagram, rectangles for observed, I2, and then I3, and I4. And these arrows represent measurement errors, and there is a correlation between these factors. Now, this loading is lambda 11, lambda 21, this loading is lambda 32, and this loading is lambda 42. And actually you will have loadings from, in an exploratory factor analysis, you will have loadings going from this factor to this item. Okay, so this will be called as lambda 12, and this will be called as lambda 22. And also you will have loadings going from F1, because it is exploratory factor analysis. You will also have loadings going from factor 1 to item 3 and factor 1 to item 4, and the loading will be lambda 41, and this will be lambda 31. So what is the representation of items in an exploratory factor analysis? We write it as I1 is caused by lambda 11 times F1 plus lambda 12, the loading of item 1 on factor 2. So lambda, sorry, let me just erase this. So it will be lambda 12 times F2 and the error associated with item 1. This is the measurement error. Similarly, I2 is equal to lambda 21 F1 plus lambda 22 F2 plus error of 2. I3 is equal to lambda 31 F1 lambda 32 F2 error 3, and I4 is equal to lambda 41 F1 lambda 42 F2, and we have this as E4. Remember, all lambda ij's, these are standardized loadings. Okay, these are all standardized loadings. So there are two terms that are reported very often. One is called as H square, which stands for communality of the items. Communality of the items. And the second thing that is called as eigenvalues and eigenvalues of factors. Remember, communalities are of items and eigenvalues are of factors. Okay, so how are these reported? What is communality of item 1? It is nothing but square of summation of square of standardized loadings. So the loading of item on factor 1 is lambda 1 whole square plus loading of item 1 on factor 2 lambda 1 whole square and the sum of this. Similarly, the communality of item 2 is lambda 21 plus lambda 22 whole square, lambda 31 square, lambda 32 square, and this is lambda 41 square, lambda 42 square. What does communality mean? What does this sum mean? This is, you see the shared variance with factor 1. It is lambda 1 square. The square of the loading means shared variance with factor 1, and lambda 12 square is shared variance with factor 2. So what is communality? We can actually say communality is defined as variance of items explained by factors together. That means how much variance in the item is now accounted by the extracted factor F1 and F2. That means communality. Remember communality yesterday also when we were talking about reliability. Communality refers to shared variance. Shared variance. So what we are saying is that shared variance of the item with factors is lambda 11 square plus lambda 12 square. That means the variance explained by the factors put together. For I1 is this, for I2 is this. So if you get a number of communality, let's say 0.6, what is the interpretation of this? That means 60% of the variance in item 1 can be accounted by, that means let me write it, 60% variance is explained by the factors. What is the remaining 40%? The 40% is something that is either the error or something that is unique to the item. So that is not explained by the latent factors, but 60% variance can be explained by the factors that we have, right? Now what is eigenvalue? So this is the communality of item. What is the eigenvalue? Now eigenvalue of the factor is nothing but lambda 11 square plus lambda 21 square plus lambda 31 square plus lambda 41 square. That means square of loadings associated with factor 1. Eigenvalue of factor 2 will be square of sum of square of loadings associated with factor 2. So it will be lambda 12 square, lambda 22 square, lambda 32 square plus lambda 42 square. So what does this mean? What is the interpretation of factors, of eigenvalue of factors? The interpretation is variance in the items that can be explained by factor F1. This is variance in items, all items put together, explained by factor 2. What does this mean now? So if you would have people who have studied factor analysis, you would have seen that whenever it comes to number of factors to be extracted, how many factors we should extract, we simply say, well, choose all factors which have eigenvalues greater than 1, right? This is the rule that we have all studied. Why do we say eigenvalues greater than 1? what does it mean if we say that there is an eigenvalue greater than 1? What will it imply? That there will eigenvalue greater than 1 will imply that there are at least two items, that load onto one factor. You get good, and loading means load with good, they have good loadings. Okay, good loadings. Okay, let me give you an example. If you have I1, I2, okay, the loading of this is 0.5 and the loading of this is 0.5. What will be the eigenvalue of factor 1? It will be 0.5 square plus 0.5 square, which is 0.25 plus 0.25. So eigenvalue of factor 1, eigenvalue for factor 1 is actually going to be 0.50, not greater than 1. So if you have two items, then you will need that the loadings of the items will be at least 0.7, something around 0.7. So it will be 0.49 plus 0.49, which is now very close, approximating 1 eigenvalue of factor 1. That means in factor extraction, you will get that there are at least two items which give you good loading, and therefore it makes sense to go for factor extraction, because now you have said that there are two items that load onto factor 1. Otherwise, if nothing is loading, then there is no need for factor extraction. Your factor extraction has failed because all items are loading separately. There is no commonality between items. So if you have to have eigenvalue greater than 1, then either you need more items with poor loadings. So that means now you can say that if there are 4 items, each with loading 0.5, then you will get 0.25 plus 0.25, which is 0.5 square plus 0.25. So poor loadings but more items, and you get eigenvalue 1. So there are at least two items that load onto latent factor. If you have good loadings, then even with two items, your eigenvalue will cross 1, and you will have, you can say that these items give me a good factor structure or good factor extraction, right? So that is the whole maths, or very simply I have tried to explain what is the reason why we go in for this, right? So most widely used rule is eigenvalue greater than 1, okay? So for any matrix of correlations, it is possible to compute numerical values. So you can do it by hand also, and the tool is actually doing this kind of analysis and computing these values for you. Again, where do you read this? Go to page number 81, appendix. Okay, appendix of Madhu Vishwanathan's paper, and go to this part on factor analysis. So page number 84. Okay, so look at this equation. It is very similar to what I have written. X1, that is item, lambda 11 times F1, lambda 12 times F2 plus error 1, and so on. Okay, so the communality of item is going to be of X1 is going to be lambda 11 square plus lambda 12 square. Okay, so this is the formula for communality. Variance explained by F1 in eigenvalues is lambda 11 square plus lambda 21 square plus lambda 31 square plus lambda 41 square. So it is the variance explained by F1, right? So this is where, again, if you want to quote as to where are we getting these formulas from, this is the chapter and page number that you can look at. So they reflect What is the interpretation of eigenvalue? They reflect the variance accounted for by principal components or principal factors, with the first value reflecting the variance explained by the strongest component, the second value the variance explained by the second strongest component, and so on, right? Well, there is also something called a Scree plot. So some people say you can decide on the number of factors to be extracted using Scree plot. But there are again lots of limitations because this is a very visual method and you got to think about where is the bending of the elbow. So here we should say that basically there should be four factors. On the y-axis, eigenvalues are plotted. On the x-axis, eigenvalue numbers are, factor numbers are plotted. So first factor has an eigenvalue of greater than 3. Second factor has an eigenvalue of 2. Third factor has somewhere about 1.9 and so on. Fourth factor has about zero point 0.5. So if you look at this Scree plot, you will say maybe we should take four factors for as the extracted. But I would rather recommend that you look at the output of your extraction, see the item loadings, and retain those factors where you are at least getting two items with good loadings, which you can sort of theoretically justify. I would actually say maybe retain factors which have three items, but a minimum of two should definitely be there. Try for having retaining factors that have at maybe three or more items loading onto one factor with good loadings. Good loading mean anything above zero point 0.5, preferably above 0.7, because now you know why we are saying that the loading should be high. If the loadings are high, then you are saying that factors extract more and more variance out of the. Okay, so criticisms of Scree plot, there is no clear definition of what constitutes a major drop. Sometimes the data may produce a gradual decreasing slope with no major breakpoint. So again, that is a major problem.